Hello, hello there. My name is Roy with my co-host Corey. We are The Real Guys, and this is The Real Show with two E's. Corey, do you want to pop a man's head like a watermelon?
You're right, it seems like an alright time.
Yeah, I sure do, because we're doing Daredevil Born Again, the final 2 episodes.
Correct.
We did the first
Like 7.
7, yes, and now we're going to do 8 and 9 up to the finale. Initially planned to be a 16-episode series,
I heard that.
But they've now split it into 2 seasons.
Yep.
Because what, 16 episodes? What do they think this is? 1995?
No, you can't
16-episode series.
You can't have seasons with more than 10 episodes now.
Yeah, more than 13. 13's a push. People look at 13 and go, that's too many episodes. But now we've got 16 episodes over 2 seasons. Yep. And we've seen the end of season 1 at the 9th episode.
We have.
But as always, you can watch and listen to us on our YouTube channel, or you can listen to us on Spotify, Amazon, Apple Podcasts. Anywhere you get your podcast, you can listen to us there, any audio platform. And as always, I'm with my co-host Corey. How are you doing today, Corey?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Excellent. You can start us off with. Well, you're a big fan of Daredevil Born Again.
I am. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the first 7 episodes, especially.
Okay, now you can kick us off on what you think about episode 8. We're going to go episode by episode to the finale, discuss the finale, discuss what we think of episodes to come, and then we're going to both give our weekly rec.
I didn't quite know what to expect going into the final 2 episodes. But episode 8 and 9, I think, is probably a fair assumption to say that it's when the season, not that it is lacking, but it picks up in the final 2 episodes. Mm-hmm. We get the scene with Daredevil and I forgot his partner's name.
Heather Glenn.
Right, and she's like, "I've been invited to the mayor to go meet the mayor because she survived the battle with Muse." And she's like, "Oh, Daredevil was out to get me. Muse was out to get me. They're both as bad as each other." And obviously, Matt's like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, that Daredevil guy, I think he's really cool.
I think he's fine.
I really like that Daredevil guy. He's really cool. He's like super athletic and strong and really handsome as well. But don't tell him I said that.
You get the scenes again, which episode 7 did, where it goes back and forth between Fisk and Matt constantly.
Yeah. The dual plot, which I really like, between our main villain and our main hero. The parallel running plots. You get a bit with Matt, then a bit with Fisk, and a bit with Matt, and a bit with Fisk. And then sometimes they intersect, and you see them together in the same scene, that's like, oh.
But no, this whole thing basically is like, we're trying to figure out what happened. Obviously, Foggy died in episode 1. Mm-hmm. It's slowly revealed through these 2 episodes that there might have been a reason why.
Yes.
They go to a bar, and it's revealed that he was celebrating early. He's going to win this case.
Because Foggy drinks a specific whiskey when he wins the case, and he's drinking early, so he must have known something.
Yeah.
He wanted to get the case thrown out because this guy, I think he was named Benny, was going to talk on these illegal activities happening at this Red Hook port. Yep. Who controls the Red Hook port? Fisk, but not Wilson Fisk.
No, it's Vanessa Fisk.
Vanessa Fisk.
And so Matt's trying to figure it out, and he's going to Bullseye because he's asked him to see him in prison because Bullseye is now released into like general population or whatever it is.
Yes, that's it. Well done.
And he's like, "Oh, who did it? Was it Fisk that did it?" And Bullseye's like, "I'll tell you who, but I've got to survive this." So Daredevil just slams his face into a desk and go, "There you go."
He does. He slams his face. That was a really good scene because you see the emotion on Charlie Cox. You see the emotion, the acting, the great acting, and he gets into a bit of he collides with Bullseye as he did in the first episode. Yep. And then he gets the guard and he says he's been slamming his head into the desk. And it wasn't me that did it.
Wasn't him.
A couple of times.
But obviously that gives Bullseye, he ends up going to the doctors, he escapes on his own, does his own thing.
Because he spits a tooth
Dart
like a bullet.
Or something.
Or he spits a bullet. I don't know what he had in there. I think he had a tooth broken. He spat the tooth like a bullet at the guy's eye and then he managed to get out.
Yep.
And then he goes to the black tie event.
Goes to the event.
The mayor's black tie event, Corey, with everybody, like Kingpin himself.
Kingpin's there. Vanessa's there.
Vanessa's there. Michael Gandolfini's there.
Mm-hmm.
James Gandolfini's son. Tony Soprano himself.
Yep.
BB Urich.
She is there.
Who's nephew. Yeah. She's the niece of Ben Urich from the Daredevil series. And also is there is Tony Dalton as the swordsman. He was in Hawkeye. If you remember Hawkeye.
I do remember Hawkeye.
Same guy, which is great. Got a nice cameo there by him. And also, he was third build in episode 9, and he's only in it for like 5 seconds.
Great.
Did you notice that?
I did not notice that. No.
I did. It's build Charlie Cox, Vincent D'Onofrio, Tony Dalton.
Yep.
And he's in it for like 5 seconds at the end. He's not even got a line of dialogue. And he's given third billing, so he's got that star power. He was in Better Call Saul, you know.
Very nice.
Yeah. And Heather Glenn is continually taking the side of Fisk.
Yep.
Because obviously she had a personal experience with Daredevil and with Muse.
Correct.
So she's very, like, she starts turning on the anti-vigilante. She starts turning on the vigilantes. And Matt's not about that.
Nope.
So he wants to protect, he wants to protect her, obviously, because he loves her. But he also wants to protect the city.
Yes. And we obviously see with the dance in the ballroom, and Daredevil kind of...
Yep.
Well, Matt walks into Fisk.
Yeah, walks into Fisk, whisks Vanessa away, and we get that great meme where Fisk's like looking really perturbed as Matt dances with Vanessa and says, I know you got to Foggy, I know you killed Foggy. And then here comes Bullseye.
Here comes Bullseye with Sniper.
Sniper. But who was he aiming for? Was he aiming for Vanessa? Was he aiming for Wilson?
We don't know, but Matt hears this and just dives in front of Wilson Fisk, takes the bullet for Fisk.
Yeah.
And is sent to hospital, basically.
Yes, he is. And then he's calling Karen's name at the hospital.
He is.
Karen Page. And they say, oh, Heather's getting all jealous, and Heather McDuffie is like, oh, it's just the drugs, whatever. And we do actually get Karen in the finale.
Mm-hmm.
Deborah Ann Wall as Karen Page, and I think she does really, really well. I think Karen she steps back into the shoes of Karen Page really easily, and she's not acted for a while, so she's been doing a lot of D&D stuff on YouTube, which I think is fantastic. Shout out to her. I think she's one of the MVPs of this show. Another MVP of this show is a man that you're a fan of, Mr. John Bernthal as Frank Castle, the Punisher. I know you're a bit of a Punisher fan.
Yep, he is in both episode 8 and episode 9.
Yes.
Fully. Obviously, we got teased a little bit.
Yeah, teased a little bit in his bunker
episodes.
with his big beard on. But Karen gives him one phone call, and he's wearing cologne.
Yep.
He's spruced up. He's shaved up, and he's ready to fight.
Yes.
So, what's Frank coming in here and doing, Corey?
Well, we get the scene obviously where Matt walks back into his house, and Frank's there, and he's complaining because he can't have a coffee. Mm-hmm. And basically, he's been brought in as a little helping aid because they're trying to figure out what's going on. There's a task force, as we found out.
Yes, the anti-vigilante task force, and their job is they're a bunch of crooked coppers, and they're going to enforce Fisk's rule of law in the city by taking down vigilantes.
As seen in one of the early episodes, they are donning like the Punisher logo. And as we find out later on, they want to try and recruit him, so he will help and will work for them, basically, which doesn't anymore for him.
No.
So they're coming in. He's there to help Daredevil. Matt has left the hospital at this point.
Yes.
After nearly getting taken out, someone tries to get him with a syringe, and he's gone before he gets there.
Buck Cashman, what a great name. He's a comic character. He's called Bullet. Is his name?
Oh, very nice.
And he's much bigger in the comics. He's like not like Blob big, but Marvel. Yeah. But he's like a big buff dude. He's like Kingpin. And he's called Buck Cashman, and he is like a steward, a toady of Wilson Fisk, and he's kind of in that sort of Wesley role, if you can remember Wesley from season 1 of Daredevil. Mm-hmm. He's kind of in that assistant type British guy role, and I think he does okay. I like every time Kingpin says his name, he goes Buck.
Yeah.
Buck.
Really emphasises
come here.
the B.
Buck, come here and help me with this. Buck, go over there. That kind of thing. Yeah, that's what you got to do. That's the secret to the Kingpin impression, Corey.
Yeah. To
emphasise the first letter of the word. You go, Buck, I need you to go to the store and get some milk. Exactly.
Yeah.
Corey, can you give us a phrase of your Kingpin impression? We'll redress it for this episode.
What was it that I went for?
You said you're gonna you're gonna cross the street and buy some Tic Tacs, Corey. I remember it very well.
Buck, I need you to cross the street and buy me some Tic Tacs.
He's getting him to do it for him.
Yeah. Can you promise I want to go?
No, of course he doesn't want to go. He's gonna send Buck and do it instead. Now we need to see Buck going and getting the shopping. Yeah. Going to get his shopping. That's Kingston's true request: milk and Tic Tacs. Don't ask why.
Nope.
Because it'll squash your head like he did to the commissioner. How much of a scene was that? That tops the very famous car door scene, which I did rewatch before I did this review. I did rewatch that scene where he does smash the guy's head with a car door, and what he does to Gallo is worse.
Yeah.
It's just he's so much wider as a guy, and he's doing the Great Khali, the cranium crush, isn't he? He's doing the Great Khali move, and that's what happens, Corey. That's what happens. That's why that's why everyone's so afraid of the Great Khali, because he does that move, and you're like, oh, you guys pop your head like a watermelon.
It's so slow as well.
It is, because it's timed with Frank's interrogation by the crooked cops.
Yeah.
Frank's interrogating, it's like, I'm never going to join you, whatever, And also, which is great by the fact that I love the look on that guy's face when he's like, you got to join us, Punisher, you'll be like us, we're like you. And, and I knew Frank would never go, and never in a million years would Frank be, good with these crooked cops hunting vigilantes. He's going to be against it. So when Frank tells him to, F off, and all of that, I'm all for it. I go, yes, love it. That was the reaction I wanted, because that's straight out of the comics.
Yep.
Frank hears that all these bent police are using his logo and his stance, and he thinks it makes him filled with rage, as Punisher often is, and he goes and enacts some Punisher justice on them, like he did in the apartment at the start of the episode, where he shot that guy in the back head with a shotgun. Did you see that?
I did see that.
Oh, he smashed that guy's head on the kitchen counter.
He did. That's a really good scene, because obviously Daredevil was trying to shout at him, telling him to not do it.
Yeah, but he just keeps on doing it.
Keeps on doing it.
He just keeps on doing it. Yeah.
And then they have a little argument.
Okay, well, listen, Daredevil, you did throw Bullseye off that roof.
Correct.
And Bullseye would have died if he wasn't somehow saved by divine intervention or something. And I think that you'll want to talk, Daredevil, personally, about being moral. You're not Batman, Daredevil does not have a no-kill rule.
But then,
Daredevil is perfectly inclined to, some vengeance, some murdering.
Yeah.
Occasionally, I'm willing to forgive it.
No, they have that little argument where Daredevil was saying it's too much, and Punisher just keeps shooting people.
Yep, and killing them with hatchets and knives.
To which they end up just being interrupted and was it the jump out the window, just leave?
There's a grenade. Someone throws a grenade in. I don't know whether it was the cop Cole is his name or something like that.
I assume it's the one that was Punisher was gonna kill and Daredevil stopped. I'm assuming.
Yeah. Daredevil stopped him because he was gonna shoot him, wasn't he? And then Matt stopped him, and they started arguing, and then he throws a grenade. They both have to dive out the window, and then Karen turns up in a car.
Yep.
She drives in because she probably drove Punisher there, I imagine.
I guess so.
Punisher doesn't strike me as a guy with his own vehicle. Unless it's a steamroller. And that's a cool comic reference for whoever gets that.
Very good.
But Punisher doesn't have his own vehicle. He strikes me as a man who take the bus. Because it's inconspicuous.
It is inconspicuous.
No one would suspect a man taking public transport to go do a bunch of Punisher in. So obviously he can't have his own vehicle. But so Karen turns up in her car and they all drive there. That would have been fun.
Yep.
Seeing all them sat in the car together. And they try to rescue after they drop Frank off.
Yep.
They go and find out about this case. They go to the record office or whatever and they figure it out. And they try to go to Fisk's this Red Hook port. However, it's all guarded full of task force dudes, so they can't rescue Frank.
No.
And I think I like that. They could have gone storming in there. Oh yeah, Daredevil's going to go in and punch some justice. But no, there's just too many dudes and he gets shot and he die.
Yep.
And Karen says that. And I'm like, that is great. Because sometimes, don't be afraid to say, hey, too big of a fight for me. We've got to do this a different way. And I'm very happy with that. So they go back to the bar and everything in its right place by Radiohead starts playing.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh yes, I love this song. I was addicted to that song as a child, and I love it. Even the opening chord, it's just so good. They had a lot of great music choices in this show.
Really good music choices in this show, yeah.
And they say, we need an army to stop Fisk. And Daredevil puts his mask on, or cowl, however you see it, and he walks out the door, and I'm thinking, yeah, here we go. This is like Luke Cage is going to turn up, Jessica Jones is going to be there, like Iron Fist's going to like stand up from a table or something. There's going to be some kind of cool moment to end the show on. But no, it's just like the police we've already seen, and like more police dudes. I'm like, well, maybe like season 2 is going to be that. Like actually recruiting vigilantes to be in your army with you against Fisk, right? So maybe we'll get Jessica Jones then, and Luke Cage and all that. Because it's the Defenders, the New York heroes, the Defenders. Yes. So I want to see some bit of Defender action going. I thought we'd have a little bit of a tease at the end, but no dice. No. But I think we'll get some Defenders in season 2. At least Jessica and at least Luke Cage is who I think.
There was a mid-credit scene.
There was, yes, where John Bernthal decides to turn up the charm. The charm of John Bernthal is he reels you in.
He does.
You just think he's a casual 9-to-5 guy. He's relating to you, you know. And then he grabs your arm and he breaks it on the cell door, and that's it. You know, that's what he does in The Bear. He doesn't break somebody's arm in the cell door, but if you ever watch The Bear, John Bernthal's in it, and he's got that same kind of down to earth, you know, where he charms you in, and then he does something. He just, does something. It explodes out, and I like it. It's that sort of calm, simmering. Same thing with Kingpin, really. Mm-hmm. You get that calm, simmering performance, and then then it smashes in with something major, and it wakes you up almost because you're drawn in by the performance, and then it snaps you awake, and I like that about his performance.
Yeah,
it seems so real, down to earth, real, and that's what Frank Castle, John Bernthal has in spades. So I'm very happy about that. It was a great performance, and that's our end credit scene.
It is.
Now there has been some leaks for season 2.
Correct.
Do you want to go over them for a little bit?
I've seen a couple things.
Right, you've seen Black Suit Daredevil?
I literally saw that about 5 minutes before we start recording.
Okay. Black Suit Daredevil. Karen Page is in disguise for some reason, probably because we know now she's a wanted criminal. She's a wanted fugitive, so she probably does need to be in disguise. I've seen they go back to the Murdoch boxing gym.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen full uniforms for the anti-vigilante task force, like with the Punisher logo on them, not just wearing blue vests.
Yeah.
They actually are in full body armor, like SWAT. Because Kingpin places New York under martial law.
He does.
Because of the threat of vigilantes. He puts New York under martial law, so he's allowed to just kidnap people willy-nilly.
Pretty much. And we see the task force do that.
Yeah.
There's a scene where they shoot someone which is not doing anything, and they just pull the beanie like down on his face, and this guy, he's a vigilante now.
He's a vigilante now. Yeah. But as for the show itself, let's drop it a rating, and we'll move on to our weekly recs this week. So Corey, let's give a full rating for Daredevil Born Again season 1.
So I believe I gave it a 9.5 or a 9. I think last time. I'm gonna either stick with or go up to a 9.5.
Right, I'm gonna drop it. I know I had it as like a 8 or a 7 or something. I think like that. So. I'm gonna bring it up to a 9.
Yep. It's really good for the whole way through.
Yeah.
Some things that possibly off the back of this. So last time we did this, I mentioned the fact that this got me wanting to read some comics and got me to kind of go into that.
Yeah.
So there's a run of comics where Muse is introduced. He was introduced in 2015 to 2018.
Okay.
The comic Muse is very much different to the TV show Muse, but I think he's confirmed to be in season 2, but people are expecting flashbacks.
Yeah, that sounds fair.
But there's rumours that he might get because he's kind of got powers in the comics, so people are saying he might get powers and come back.
Okay.
Because he's way kind of more scary and a bit more different. I think there's also more graffiti that hasn't been shown in season 1 that we know exists.
Yeah. There was a couple of pieces in the trailers that we saw that were never seen in the actual show. So.
But overall, I really like the series. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's fun the whole way, and it leaves enough to go into season 2. We get the Defenders. what happens to Punisher? Does he
Yeah.
get his own thing? Cause is he getting his own like another thing with Disney Plus, another Punisher series, or
Yeah.
that kind of thing? There's enough to it
Mm-hmm.
to go into season 2, and I really enjoyed it.
Okay. As for my weekly rec, I think we're both going to be recommending comics, aren't
Well,
we?
I am, yes.
Right, I'm going to recommend comics then. Allow me to go first.
Yeah.
I'm going to recommend the Charles Soule run of Daredevil.
Okay.
So, are you aware?
That's the one that I read.
Right.
So after the episode we did, I read all 47 or whatever issues of that.
Right, okay. So it was between October 20... I've got some information here.
Okay, good.
It's between October 2015 to December 2018. It was the all-new, all-different Marvel Point 1, or Blind Spot, as it was called. And that's Daredevil Volume 1 to Volume 28, and Daredevil Volume 595 to Volume 612.
Yep.
And that is Charles Soule's run of Daredevil. And I've not read as much as you have, clearly. I took a bit of a breeze over it, and I know how good Charles Soule is, because he's done some Marvel Star Wars stuff, like Darth Vader type stuff. And I know how good Charles Soule is, so I will happily give this an 8.5. That wasn't your rec as well, was it?
No.
Okay.
So I was going to mention that in passing as like a secondary rec.
Right.
Because it has...
Well, I've wrecked it now, so there you go.
So it has Muse in it, it has other people in it as well, and it has a Mayor Fist storyline in that comic run as well. But I'm not far off. So I'm recommending a comic as well.
Okay.
And I have it on me. It arrived today and I read it.
Oh, right, okay.
And it's this one.
Ah.
Which is also by Charles Soule.
Okay, nice.
Mainly because the one you mentioned is I think I said 47 issues or something like that, and it's really good.
Yeah.
This is just coming out, so it's just come out now. The next one is May, the next one's June. It's only three comics and that's it, it's done.
Yeah.
And it's Daredevil when he's older and he's got no powers, basically it's all powers.
Okay.
And like I say, it's written by Charles Soule. This one's really good. It's going to get a 9 from me.
Okay.
But like you said, you should also read the Charles Soule run and get Marvel Unlimited, that's what I did.
Yeah, exactly.
To read all that.
Yeah, of course. And if you can, as I mentioned, the Star Wars Darth Vader by Charles Soule came out in 2017.
Yep.
You know, Marvel Comics, Star Wars, they had a collaboration. So if you can read that as well, I'll put that as my secondary.
That should be on Marvel Unlimited, I assume it is.
Yeah. There's actually a lot of great stuff from Revenge of the Sith that's kind of recontextualized in those comics. So, especially with May 4th just around the corner and the re-release of Revenge of the Sith, no better time to get into it.
Correct. And I believe, just going back to Daredevil, I think season 2 coming out next year?
Oh, yes, it is. March.
Yeah.
Same time. March
Cool.
2026. So, then that's a great note to end on, with all best hopes for the second season. So, thank you very much for watching and listening, and is a goodbye from me, goodbye, and a goodbye from Corey.
Goodbye.